Hello.
Good morning. Welcome to American Travel Agency.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm
Ruben?
Yes, Ruben. Good, I'm good. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
You're fine.
Are you ready for the interview?
I'm absolutely ready.
Perfect. So, tell me something about yourself.
Tell something about myself. Well, like you heard, I'm Ruben. I'm 20 years old. I'm from a family of one brother and two sisters. Live in Holland. Went to high school in my hometown, Buitenpost, which is in Holland. Then I went to university in Groningen. Probably you've never heard from that city, but it's a smaller city in Holland. I went to America for a year. Did my high school there. Well, what else? My hobbies. I like to play soccer. I really like to travel. That's why I came up here. And yeah, what else? I like just pretty much like every team sport, and that's about it. Cooking. I like cooking as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I like cooking. So yeah, that's pretty much me.
Okay, thank you. So, tell me now, what are you passionate about?
Well, like I said, I really like traveling. I've done a couple of road trips, backpacking, all of that stuff, and I'm just really like it to prepare that kind of stuff, or like either go really prepared or not go prepared at all.
And just say, let's go there.
Let's go and let's see what, what's gonna happen. So yeah, that's well, and soccer. I've been playing soccer since I was 6 years old, so that's something I'm passionate about. And cooking, I like cooking. I like to make a really nice product on a plate. It's something fun for me, and just make it taste as good as it can be. And
yeah, it's like a challenge.
yeah, absolutely.
Challenging.
Yeah, it's challenging. What else? I like to turn something to success. Like if I have an idea or something, like I've had my own smaller companies before, and they were when I was really young. But was just a passion for me, not really to make the money, but more to like, okay, see, I have this idea, and it came out of it. So yeah, that was great.
Very interesting. Tell me now, which is your greatest strength and your greatest weakness?
My strengths and weaknesses, it's always a tough question.
Yes.
Let's start off with my weakness, probably. I'm not a really good loser. Like when I want to win in something, like I'm really passionate. You could probably tell. Like I play soccer, so when I play soccer, I will do everything for it to win. And if I don't win,
that's perfect.
I hate
what
that.
we are looking for.
Yeah, it's just like my whole weekend will. Well, I don't want to use bad words, but yeah, it will not a good weekend. Well, then my strengths. Let me think about that. I'm pretty good with pressure. When a deadline comes for something, like so far, I pretty much have school deadlines, so I can't really say, okay, I've had job deadlines, but in my school, like for projects and stuff, that's maybe also a little bit of weakness. Sometimes I wait a little bit before I start with something, and then when I really feel like, okay, now it really needs to be done, now I really need to start, I will start on it and work really hard. And then I know for myself, okay, I can do this, and that's a pretty good strength. I think I can deal with stress pretty well.
Yes, that's really good. Explain me, what did you study and why you choose it?
I studied the IBS, which stands for the International Business School. Well, when I was done with my high school in Holland, I didn't really know what to study yet. So then I decided to travel first, and I went to a year of high school, so that I would maybe get some orientation from that experience. All and I did. So from that traveling, from my high school in America, I just know, okay, I want to have some international job later and help people like what I did, like making.
Very good choice.
Yeah.
Do you have any job experience, or have you done any internship before?
I haven't done an internship before, because this is my first study, so yeah. I have job experience, I started working when I was really young because I like to make money and like to, have it. So I've had some grocery store jobs which aren't maybe relevant for this job, so I'll save you that time. But I worked for Vodafone, maybe you know it, and that was just hardcore selling, calling people you don't know and try to give them a contract. So that was just a really good experience in selling stuff. And then after that I worked for an insurance company for a little bit where people would call me and they would ask me, okay, it was a healthcare insurance thing, so they would call me like, yeah, I need to have this and this and this and my healthcare package, can you please help me what I need? And then we would of course try to get that person to us. And then I worked for a utility company and I helped people there for like bills and stuff, like things that went wrong or had to set up contracts. Just very wide variety of different kind of jobs or tasks in the job. So.
And what have you learned about them?
Well, of course, the selling aspect. I've learned pretty much from the hardcore selling to like what we call it, like warm selling, where it's actually already a customer, and you sell another product to the customer, which is relatively a lot easier compared to hardcore selling. And then just like dealing with, the most important thing I've learned from it is like dealing with a lot of different sort of people. Every time you need to go in a different way in the conversation because you need to identify your customer as soon as possible and talk a certain way. If I mean like a business guy, you talk different to than
Exactly.
like a housewife or something, like, so yeah.
Okay. What do you know about our company?
Well, what do I know about it? I've used your company a couple of times for different trips I made. So I was in contact with you, and I just really liked the way you approached me in a way, not too serious, like you know your customers. And well, of course, I'm really passionate about traveling, so I like what you guys do. It's my idea of what I want to do later. Yeah.
Tell me, which are your career goals and how do you think you can achieve them?
What are my career goals? It's a good question. Personally, to be honest, I would really like to have my own travel company later, like how it's exactly for me, like what I see as the perfect travel company. And you guys get pretty close, of course, and really close. But it's not about you guys, but I've always really liked to have my own company. So that would be for a future thing, far future. Yeah.
Tell me, what do you have that makes you the best candidate for this placement?
The best candidate. Well, I think it's the mix of that I have the experience with you guys, so I have interacted with you already, and then I have the experience of traveling, so when I talk to people, I can actually let them feel like they're there, like when I try to, sell them a trip to Australia or something, I've been there, so I know what I'm talking about, and I can let them feel like how it is to be there. And besides that, I have a study in business and a lot of experience in dealing with different people, so it's kind of the mix from everything that will make me the best candidate.
How do you measure success?
Yeah, you mean career-wise or?
Well, yes.
I mean, you can define success in different ways, but for me, success is not just having being really good at your job. That's success, of course, but then I think it's also important that, again, you make it a mix of relationships with friends, with your family, with your wife later, and kids. And I think the people who have the most success are the ones that have all those things in a good way, not just their job.
Nice answer. What do you like or dislike about your previous jobs?
I really like the interaction of like dealing with the customers, and that you pretty much can wear like a different suit every time. Like you deal with different people every conversation, and you always have to adjust to that person. What I didn't like about it was that sometimes in companies that try to sell hardcore, you know, like it didn't really sound like they really cared about the customer anymore. It was just about selling, 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 selling.
Okay. Explain me, how would you handle it if you think your boss is wrong?
My boss is wrong. Depends a little bit, of course, how long I would work there. I mean, if I step in a job and I don't have, you know, I start at the bottom, I wouldn't try to talk against the management right away. But if I'm in a job a few years out, and I would, you know, be sure that my solution in something, for example, would be better, I'd tell them in a respectful way. And I think that's good for a company to have more than one view on how something can be done.
Going back to your job experience, tell me which have been your biggest mistakes, and what have you learned from them?
Yeah, my biggest mistake, I think when I worked for the utility company, at the beginning sometimes you have like a really hard case in something, you know, like a really hard problem to solve, and you would kind of try to, well, let's say like finish off the client or the customer and pretty much skip it to the next employee, like your next colleague, who would get the problem after again, because the customer will call again because it wasn't solved yet, you know. So what I've learned from this is it doesn't work. It makes your colleagues frustrated, it makes the customer frustrated. So I would, yeah, after that happened the first time, because everybody pretty much did that. So we had a meeting about that, and we said to each other, okay, you're really going to help that customer till it's ended, no matter if it takes an hour or 2 hours. And there was, when we started doing that, it helped everybody, the customer. So pretty much the being patient thing and not just walking away for things. So yeah, definitely improved that.
What do you find are the most difficult decisions to make?
Most difficult, I think when you have to make a decision that it would like hurt some person. Like you have to make a decision, and it's gonna hurt one person if you make one decision, and hurt another person if you make another decision. What are you gonna decide? I mean, you never want to hurt people, so yeah. I mean, I can deal with bad business decisions, but I couldn't handle with bad people decisions, if you know what I mean.
Yes, of course. Could you describe me your individual or teamwork style, and which one do you prefer?
Yeah, well, like I said, I play soccer, so I always think that with a team you can achieve more than on your own, looking at different things. So I prefer to work in a team to go to a certain goal you have, but then when I actually have to really work on something, like work it out, you know, I like to be more on my own and like on my own little island and work out the thing till you need somebody again, and then you discuss again, okay, how do we get more to our goal which we have, and then you go back again to my little island. But I mean, you can't ever work as a team, you know, like sit around a table and just work. Everybody needs their own time to actually work out something.
I agree. I totally agree with you. What work environment do you prefer?
In the context of?
In the context of the company, which environment in the company do you prefer?
What do I prefer? Can you give an example of like a good work environment?
It's just in which kind of company would you like to work for? How would be the environment of the working between the colleagues?
Yeah, then I would say I think it's important that I would like to work in an environment where everybody, of course, is on the same line. And how do you say that? Yeah, where everybody's on the same line and where everybody has the same passion about something. I've worked in projects in school where students had a way lower passion to get a good grade than the other students, and that's just really frustrating. So I think it's just, you know, like, be all on the same line, have all the same thing in your head on how passionate you are about something, because it's just only frustration when one person is not as passionate about it as the other.
And how do you do it with the pressure? How do you handle it?
How do I handle pressure? Well, like I said before, I sometimes wait a little bit till but that's in school projects, because you don't always like every school project as much. So I would say, okay, I know this is my deadline. I have 3 weeks to reach the deadline and to do the job. I spend 2 hours on making a plan how I'm going to get there, and I stick to the planning and make sure it's done. I mean, if you have a planning in your head and you have it on paper, there's actually no need for pressure, because you know how long it's going to take you if you're a good planner.
Okay, very good. Well, this is all the interview. I don't know if you have any other question.
Well, I would really like to know, once I've done this internship, do I have growing opportunities in your company? Can I get a job for your company?
Yes, of course. We have a lot of employees who are already started with an internship, but of course we always hire the best ones. You have to work hard and show us that you are this one.
That's good. I like that. I would really like to work for your company later, so that's also my input when I would want to have an internship at a certain company. So
nice to hear.
Yep.
Well, this is all.
Thank you.
I hope you had a good time.
I had a really good time.
Good luck.
Thank you. All right.